Have you noticed how silence can say so much without saying anything at all? It's strange, isn't it? They expect you to yell, argue, or break down. They think your reaction is their victory. But what happens when you don't give them that? No words, no anger, just silence. It catches them off guard. They were ready for a fight, for noise. But instead, they're left facing themselves. That's when the real impact begins. Your silence isn't weakness, it's strength. It shows you're above their games, their insults, their attempts to pull you down. And that silence? It stays with them, echoing longer than any argument ever could. So think about it. What does silence really mean? It means they don't control you. It means you've already won. You know how it feels when someone disrespects you. Maybe it's a friend who betrayed your trust, a colleague who mocked your efforts, or a loved one who dismissed your worth. It hurts, doesn't it? That sting of being undervalued, like you're invisible, like your voice doesn't matter. And when they do it, they're waiting for you to react. They expect you to shout, argue, cry, or even beg. That's what they want, to see the chaos, to feel like they've won, to know they've gotten under your skin. It's a pattern, isn't it? They push your buttons, and when you finally snap, they sit back and smirk. They twist the story to make it look like you're the problem. They feed off your anger. They use your emotions as fuel, as proof that their words and actions have power over you. And every time you react, it feels like they're winning, doesn't it? Like you're losing a part of yourself, just trying to prove you deserve respect. But think about this. What if you didn't give them that reaction? What if, instead of yelling or defending yourself, you just stayed quiet? What if you decided they weren't worth your energy? That silence, that calm, imagine how it would flip the script. Instead of feeding their ego, it leaves them with nothing. And in that nothing, they're forced to sit with their own actions. Because sometimes, the loudest message is the one you never speak. Now imagine this when they hurt you. They expect the usual. They expect yelling, tears, or anger. They're ready for the fight because that's how they win. But what happens when you don't play their game? What happens when you choose silence instead? At first, they might think they've won. But as the silence stretches, something changes. That silence isn't empty, it's loud, it's heavy. It makes them uncomfortable. Because now they're left alone with their own actions. No excuses, no distractions, just the weight of what they've done. They're not prepared for this. Silence isn't something they know how to handle. It doesn't give them control. Instead, it gives you control. Your silence says, "You don't get to decide how I feel. You don't get to pull me down." It's not just an absence of words, it's a presence of strength. And suddenly, the roles reverse. The power they thought they had slips away. They're left questioning themselves, doubting their actions. That silence is like a mirror, forcing them to see the truth about themselves. You see, silence isn't weakness. It's a statement. It's you saying, "I don't need to waste my energy on you." And in doing so, you take back the control they tried to steal. The unexpected choice to stay quiet isn't about giving uppits about rising above. It's about showing that their words, their actions, don't define you. Because silence isn't empty. It's full of power. Your silence is more powerful than any word you could say. It lingers in their mind, growing louder the longer it stays. They wanted chaos. They wanted to see you lose control. Instead, they're left with the one thing they can't escape: their own thoughts. At first, they might brush it off. They'll act like it doesn't bother them. But as time passes, the silence begins to eat away at them. It's like a shadow they can't outrun, a reminder they can't ignore. Your silence forces them to sit with their own actions. The words they threw at you, they hear them now, echoing in their own head. The hurt they caused, they feel it, because there's nothing to distract them from the truth. And then comes the regret, the guilt, the realization that they took you for granted, that they pushed too far. Without your reaction to deflect their blame, they're left with only themselves to confront. It's unsettling for them. They start to see what they've done, what they've lost. They see the strength in your silence, and it shakes them. Because silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's the presence of power. It's the weight of all the things left unsaid. And that weight, it's heavy. Your silence doesn't just haunt them, it changes them. It makes them think, question, reflect. It leaves an imprint they can't forget. So while they might pretend it doesn't matter, deep down they feel it. Your silence isn't just a response, it's a consequence, and it's one they can't escape. Your silence isn't just a reaction, it's a declaration. It says, I'm worth more than this. It shows that your peace, your energy, and your self-respect are not up for negotiation. Choosing silence doesn't mean you're weak or passive. It means you've grown beyond the need to prove yourself to people who don't value you. It's a sign of maturity, of knowing when to walk away from things that drain you. You're not ignoring what they did, you're refusing to let it define you. You're refusing to let their actions steal your happiness, your focus, your future. That silence, it's strength, it's control. It's the realization that you're bigger than their words, stronger than their insults, and smarter than their games. When you choose silence, you choose yourself. You choose to invest your energy in things that matter, in growth, in progress, in building a life that reflects your worth. And in doing so, you rise. You rise above their small-mindedness, their attempts to drag you down. You show that your value doesn't depend on their approval. It comes from within. Every moment you stay silent, you're reclaiming your power. You're saying, I am more than this moment, more than your actions, more than your words. And that's where the real growth happens. In those quiet moments, you find your strength. You find clarity. You find yourself. Because silence isn't the end, it's the beginning. The beginning of a stronger, wiser, and more empowered you. The you who knows your worth and refuses to settle for anything less. Your silence is not just the end of their noise, it's the start of your freedom. It's the moment you take back everything they tried to steal from you. Your peace, your confidence, your sense of worth. They expected you to crumble, to fight, to fall apart. But you didn't. You stood still, calm, and unshaken. And in that stillness, you found your true strength. You see, silence isn't emptiness, it's clarity. It's the sound of you stepping away from their chaos and stepping into your power. It's the voice that says, I don't need to respond because I know who I am. And while they're left questioning, regretting, and wrestling with their own guilt, you move forward. You leave their words behind, their actions behind, their negativity behind. Because your silence isn't for them, it's for you. It's your way of saying, I choose me. It's your way of breaking free from their hold, their opinions, their expectation. So here's the truth. You don't need their apology. You don't need their validation. You don't need anything from them. Your silence is your closure, your victory, your proof that you're unbreakable. Let them wonder. Let them regret. Let them sit with the weight of their actions. Meanwhile, you rise. You rise above the pain, the doubt, the hurt. You rise into the person you were always meant to be, stronger, wiser, untouchable. In your silence lies your greatest strength. It's not a weakness, not a surrender, it's a statement. A statement that you control your story and no one else. So walk forward, head held high, unshaken by their noise. Let your silence speak for you. Let it echo in their minds and remind them of the power they underestimated. Because in the end, your silence isn't the absence of words, it's the presence of strength. And that strength will take you farther than they ever imagined.